Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Farah, and welcome back to Vanity Fair, my pop culture TV recap podcast, where I get to just divulge all the stupidest details I pick up, from style and aesthetic details to basically makeup choices. Why do people have so many writing on the wall posters? I don't know, but however, I certainly am obsessed with escapist reality shows in a docu-series format that have to do with love and relationships. And you know what? I think you are too. So let's talk about it. This is a very special episode in that it's my third episode of this solo podcast, and I'm so pumped that you found me. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, please give me 5 stars. Just like wish me luck and be like, hey girl, I see you. There's a little something free for Christmas. And also just like, you know, pat me on my behind and send me out the door. That's that kind of 5-star review that can really just, let a girl know that she's cared for. But however, we are going to get into 90 Day Fiance. This is before the 90 days. It's season 8, episode 3. Prepare for takeoff. And like I said, this is live from Paris, honey. If you are listening, I have no guest but the city of Paris herself. I'm so happy to be here for Christmas with my dad, and we're spending some time together. It's raining outside. It's great. If you are watching this will be a Patreon only visual, in that I'm wearing no makeup and a bunch of Aquaphor and a bathrobe in my hotel room. So Patreon only for that. However, I can't wait to talk about this. I loved this episode so much, and I have so many pictures. This was a great episode. This is prime 90 Day Fiance. There's no Emma, which for this season, I'm now going to go ahead and say I don't like Emma. I don't want the storyline. I don't care about it at all. It's old hat in so many ways. I don't need like another out of touch Kardashian-y kind of girl who doesn't understand that other people exist and they might feel differently. And also, I don't need to see like another hard-headed Arab man want a hot girl and then put her like in a cave. You know what I'm saying? Like none of that is interesting to me anymore. And the Reddit streets are also saying that she basically tried this before. That's why she had the other Moroccan guy. Okay, so having said that, I loved this episode. There's no Emma. There's everyone. We got new people, and we had like one of the best airport reunions I've seen. And it's obviously not Aviva. No offense. I love Sheena so much. I love Forrest so much. But also so many good scenes with our new lovely couple. It's going to be Lisa, and then hopefully Danielle's lovely, but I don't know. But Lisa, I love, with Faith, her daughter. We're going to get into it. Where do we start? Should we start with them? Okay, maybe we do. Brand new couple. I mean, again, Lisa. Not to be confused with baby girl Lisa, and not to be confused with another wig lover on the show, and that's Emma. But Lisa, you should know, loves a couple of things. Her daughter, Faith, both genders, wigs, Benihana. Maybe you're also her friend Juna. Okay, so let's start, shall we? Again, what a great episode. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, okay. Lisa's 52 and she lives in like something, Prussia, Pennsylvania, not Prussia, the country that no longer exists. That I was confused because I'd be like, what's Prussia when I was learning about it? Also, it sounds like Russia. That's my own fault. I felt the same way about Assyria because I'm Syrian. So the whole time that people would talk about Assyria, which I would be like, what is that Syrian? Anyway, truly ignorant. Okay. Back to Lisa and her codependent, lovely daughter, Faith. I'm not saying Faith is codependent on her, but I will say this is a parental, daughter parent, relationship that is codependent. And we've certainly seen it before. Forrest, Molly. And you know what? It takes one to know one. My name is Chris. I'm currently in Paris with my dad, and I certainly am codependent on him. Okay. Now here is what's happening. Lisa, God bless, is talking to her daughter, and they're very, very close. They talk about masturbation a lot, and they have to go over the exact definition and differences between a playboy and a gigolo and a pimp. Now, Faith knows them. So Faith had to teach her mom. And sometimes you do have to teach the children. But everyone knows that a playboy, unfortunately, is a male hoe. But we don't call male hoes sluts. They call them playboys. They don't call girls that like to have sex playgirls. However, there was obviously a magazine. That's what a playboy is. Now, a gigolo is a male sex worker. Now, I know that, and anyone who watched the HBO show Gigolos knows that. Lisa's finding that out. Lisa's like, no, that's a pimp. And Faith had to be like, no. A pimp is the CEO of a sex working empire where predominantly they deal probably with female sex workers. But truthfully, I don't even know if that's true. There's probably male pimps that deal with male sex workers. And I hate to say this out loud, but you know what? I have a podcast, so I can. That would make a really good reality show. I guess it was gigolos. But I think that I didn't remember it being like one major pimp and like all of their workers. Like I remember, it was more about the workers. Okay, anyway, and this is what's happening. For the second time, a mother and a daughter, or a parent and a child, are too close, talking about sex and the intricacies and intimacies of one of their relationships, and they have to procure devices for it. Now, obviously, we saw Molly take Forrest to a sex shop, get some lingerie and get some goodies, and with Lisa, she needs to buy a condom. She's like, I've never had sex with a condom. And I was like, humble brag. It's a dark joke. She's like, I've never had sex with a condom because I've only had sex with people that like I was married to. And I was like, okay, good for you, honey. She was married 5 times. Now, it feels like 2 of them or 3 of them were men and 2 of them or 3 of them were women. I'm not quite sure because I'm really bad at math, but just half and half. She hasn't been with a man in 20 years. The first man was annulled. The second man, her best friend, and, she had Faith. And then there was another guy, and that guy, like, whatever. And then, honey, along came Eve. And Lisa was just like, women are soft. They're curvy, they're soft. Now, she goes on to describe the differences in like the cleanup after lovemaking and the smells and the sex. I found that interesting. Too much. Okay. I am like whatever, boringly cisgender heterosexual in that, so I can't speak to everything. But from my own knowledge, there's always a little bit of cleanup, right? Like, because after people come, they come, right? Come, my baby. You're my butterfly, sugar, baby. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, having said that, I sometimes have to clean up. Okay, that's fine. I'll move on. So anyway, she's obviously turned over a new leaf and, going back to, the drawing board, if you will, for her. These are all bad jokes. But she basically got Facebook messaged by Daniel, and he just said, God showed me your face. My mom told me I'd end up with, and then Oyenbo maybe is, the word he's using, and then he puts in parentheses, white woman, and that she'd be older. So many interesting things in just that one message. How did he find her? God showed me your face, but then his mother told him, is God his mother? Is God a woman? Because I feel like that. I don't know if a God is a Oyembo, but no, God's not. But it does seem like 2 important people in his life were like, Daniel, you got to go fuck that white lady on that Facebook post, honey. Like it? DM her. Now, her first message back to him is, you're a scammer. Why are you messaging me? Now, that also seems like, like she like answered her question. She like, it's like being like, you're the sun. Why are you warm? You're a scammer. Why are you messaging me? You are the moon. Why are you light in the sky? Those are two basically metaphors. But you know what I'm saying? You're a scammer. Why are you messaging me? That's like me like going to a drive-through and then them, asking me what I'd like to eat and me being like, you're Taco Bell. Why are you expecting me to order tacos? It's like, yeah. So then Daniel to that message says, God told me to. Which he basically already said. He said, God showed me your face. Then she says, you're a scammer. Why are you messaging me? And then he says, God told me to. And that is enough for her. And she's like, oh, good. Cleared that up. Laura, I feel for Faith. I put all my faith in Faith, and I do feel for Faith and what happens next. Okay, so basically, we get a lot of backstory too. She, as I said, also likes wigs. She's up in front about it. She's like, it's a wig. She's not like Emma, where it's like suddenly the heaviest piece of, I don't know, like a full broom on someone's head, honey, a full moppity mop, and then her just like blinking about it. And then on social media being like, of course it's a wig. God bless. I would much prefer Laura's wig over Emma's wig. Laura's wig has some bangs, so it kind of cuts up that hairline a little bit. Now she's like, yeah, I had a wife, and the wife was like, cut my hair. And then I was like, okay. And then, Daniel said he liked her hair, and now she always wears wigs. One time, Laura told Daniel that she might have had a dalliance with a lady. Laura told Daniel that perhaps she once dipped her tiny pinky toe in the lady pond. Didn't say about the marriages. And Daniel was like, no, that is against God. And now she's not even telling him that she was like full on married to women. That's the shitty sign. That's the red flag. At some point, you are who you are, and fuck anyone else. Of course, you can change your looks if you want, in the sense like, if you want to wear a wig, fine. Like she's not the only one, and definitely, there's vain people in the world, and I'm one of them. And hello, have you heard my podcast? It's called Vanity Fair. So, but I don't like the idea of a grown-ass lady having to lie about her life experiences to make some man happy, and the man's younger and intolerant, and from a very specific fundamentalist extreme viewpoint. No, that's like the crux. Anyway, during her condom buying scene, she cries, which in itself is like, what's happening here? She's saying that she's very embarrassed. And we're like, okay, girl, well then, quickly get out. But no, instead, through tears, she's like, I need to have a conversation with someone about how embarrassed I am. So she picks a person, honey, that works in the store who does not want to have any conversation with her at all about condoms. And then she cries to him about the condoms. And the way that okay, one thing is this. She's allergic to latex, okay? And so she's like, I have to go to Nigeria with my own condoms. And we're like, okay, well, take care of yourself, honey. That makes sense. But then, as she's crying about being embarrassed, she's like, I also need to ask a question. Does sheer mean that you can feel it more? Does it mean that you can feel the skin a little more? And we're all like, yeah, girl. That's a little obviously, right? Like, yeah. We talk, of course, that's what that means. How do you have a kid, and how you been married 5 times or whatever? I don't know that, like, obviously a sheer condom means sheer. Also, I love the fact that she's never worn a condom and still knows how shitty they feel. They don't feel shitty. It's very important that you protect yourself, okay? Obviously. So good, do it. Make sure. But for someone who has like never worn a condom, and boy, is she like, I just really want to feel that dick. I'm embarrassed to tell you, man, at the CVS, that yes, I do get itchy if it's latex, but also I desperately need to feel it. And I want him to feel hurt, like me. Okay, now, thank God Faith wasn't in the shop, which begs the question, why wasn't Faith there? Because we just saw them driving together, and then she goes in by herself and then has to ask, I mean, some guy named Brian or something, that's not his name, but he certainly doesn't want to help her. He just wants to get back to his life. And I don't even know if this is at a Rite Aid or a CVS, but I'm pretty sure it's probably closed since then, honey. And he's just like, I was supposed to work Thrifties in the ice cream section, and I have to help this old biddy with latex-free condoms and try and explain to her that, yeah, sheer means that you can feel the veins. You know, like, I'm sorry, it's so good. Okay, so then we get the Benihana scene. Don't you love a hibachi grill, honey? So I love this for lots of reasons. A, because we get another, like, white guy that, like, is being forced into the conversation of Laura's life and sex life, who does not want it and is already at work and would rather be at work doing what he usually does. So this man, you know, when you're working at Benihana, I mean, I don't know, but we've all been to one. They're doing all the tricks, honey. They're cutting up the fried rice with the egg in it, and they're like throwing you like one dumpling in your mouth, and you're catching it. She's catching it. She's had some fun. And he does this nice does all the things he's supposed to do, act interested, maybe ask a question, let her have some like expository backstory revealed. And, you know, I hopefully got a tip. However, we're also learning that she is having money problems. So half of me is like, is Juna paying for this? Then we get a lot of bad news. A lot of fucking bad news. You know, the bad news of like, she's giving him money. She's given him $2,000 and even more. Give him $2,000 first. He's asked 2 to 3 times for money. He works in construction. But she wants him to feel safe, and she wants him to, you know, get better, because unfortunately he told her that he had to deal with malaria and various other sicknesses. And Faith hears this and she loses her shit. She loses her shit in a way that is a trauma response from a child to a parent when they are exhibiting behaviors that are reminiscent of trauma and past toxic behaviors that impeded the child. And the child is hearing and feeling energies and realizing that she is no longer safe, because she knows what this means. She knows what this is. And as she blink blinks at her mom and is like, I'm sorry, what? How much money did you send him? And Laura's like, just enough for me to feel like he's safe. And she's like, yeah, but we don't have any money. And you asked Juna, your good friend here, to loan you money. And Juna's like, yeah, I did. I've been paying for Daniel. And Laura's like, she's the best, that Juna. If she was a lesbian, I'd be with her. And half of me's like, is this like a Michael, Laura, like Michael, other Michael? Like, I need like an immediate, oh no, did I say Laura? Shit. If I called Lisa Laura in the past like 3 minutes, obviously that's on me. We all know there is another Laura, and Laura is with BeerCon, and Laura has a best friend named Michael. So that was actually what I was about to say. Does Lisa have a Juna like a Laura has a Michael, where there's the unspoken possibility for a relationship that for some reason fear hasn't blossomed yet? Because yeah, Lisa's like, I would be with Juna, and I'm not saying Juna's gay, but what I am saying is that you certainly love someone a lot to just throw them money. A lot, like, foolishly. And I mean that because, Juna isn't giving Lisa money to like fund a new business that will like help Juna in the long run. I'm sorry, help Lisa in the long run, like build a foundational income or anything. And maybe I am, an ungenerous soul that like I just wouldn't be able to give my friend money to give to a man. I'm not going to give my friend money to give to their lover. It would have to be like, I have to be a very special situation. Like, God bless, like where I knew the person very well and we definitely knew that their lover was like going through it. And then maybe then, but I'm not going to just give my friend money to give to their overseas lover who I haven't met and who they haven't met yet, who like is definitely I'm not going to do that if they're from, a country, God bless, that can have some, some red flags. I don't want to be, I'm not, I don't want to be like racist, but Nigeria of all of the countries, I mean, that's not the one that I would like be throwing money to anyone at. But I'm trying to think. I want to not be racist. So like, yeah, there's definitely Arab countries. I'm like, what? I mean, I wouldn't give money to like anyone from, I don't know. I wouldn't give money to a lot of people in places where I feel like there is a possibility for a love scam and my friend hasn't met that person. Faith goes all out. She's like, you're fucking crazy, mom. You're being scammed. You don't see it. And Juna doesn't really say anything. And all we know is Juna has been supporting it, which begs the question, why? Why? That's why I'm like, Juna, do you like her? Is this your way of like trying to like, I don't know, show your loved one that you do? Because can you girls just be together? Faith cries and has to leave the dinner. And I feel so bad for her because she's like, you're not listening. And then Juna is left with Lisa and they go and find Faith. And then Lisa's like, I promise you, I will never choose him over you. And I will not get married to him there. And she's like, that's what you said last time. And she's like, yes, but you have to believe that I'm not going to make the same choices. I'm not that toxic anymore. My heart broke. Ooh, this is hard. I really want the best for Lisa because I think that Lisa has a really good heart. And I certainly want the best for Faith because Faith is like, I've had to fucking put up with so much, you guys. You have no idea. I had to move around all the time. I went to like 5 different schools. And I had to like deal with a mom who was a bleeding heart, who felt like she had no security, who hated herself unless she felt the affection of someone. I have a mom who doesn't feel whole. And so when I was young, I would see someone desperately grab at something, someone, some relationship to make her feel enough. And I think that probably the codependent part of their relationship like feeds a part of that, right? For Lisa. I mean, Lisa has to be like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to see if he's for real and I'm not going to do anything bad. And please trust me and please, be positive. And Faith, like, doesn't have it in her heart anymore. Oh, Faith, Faith and her live together, obviously, and they're having financial issues, which we already discussed. So I need Faith, and I mean this, to have to divorce herself of needing. Okay. I need Faith to divorce herself of her relationship with her mom enough to fend for herself and make sure she's okay. I don't know if Faith has like a separate bank account or if Faith is, has a job. I don't know if Faith has been living with her mom, and, sharing one income, but if, this isn't enough. And Faith is a young girl and she's going to have to like find something she's really good at. And then like, make sure that she has security and safety for herself, because I do not feel like her mom is going to be able to help her with that. And I don't think she's ever probably seen a good example of that. And so, and there's no like way for me to help her other than I want this for her. And I'm putting this out there by telling you guys so that you guys make it happen for her. No, I don't know, for the universe too. Um, also I felt for her so bad. Okay, so let's move on to Aviva and Stig, honey. Okay, she is running to her connecting flight. She's like, oh my God, it's going to board in 20 minutes and I have to run to get there. And she's sweating and she gets there. And she's like, oh, finally made it just in time. But as we see the monitor, all it says is that it's boarding in 2 minutes. And I want to be like, all right, girl, you still had 30 minutes. You could have stopped and gotten like a straight up pack of M&Ms, honey, because we all know that if it's boarding, you have time. So it felt like a little bit of a sharp, like, oh, drama, but like really. Okay. We get a 12 hours earlier flashback, and that's for Stig, when we see him, honey, partying in Santa Elena. And then he's like, you know what, my name? It's Erlin. And we were like, we can see why you call yourself Stig. Erlin. Isn't it funny how Stig is a good-looking man, right? Totally good-looking and talented. He's great. And I'm so happy that we get like a fun new storyline where there's like a musical artist and this person is successful, great, like, you know, doing well, like isn't kind of a wannabe or depressing or sad. You know, we've seen so much of that over the years. I'm saying his career isn't depressing and sad, and he doesn't have to feel like he has to play at something. And we're like, yeah, sure. And that part's so great. Now, I also love that for him because I love that he has a nerdy name. Now, if Erlin is like, you know, a name where you're like, Chris, it's a Belizean heirloom name, and how dare you say that it's nerdy? That's just your own ignorance. I would be like, yeah, sure, I agree. Yep, you're right. But what I'm saying is that Erlin kind of sounds like Ernest, and like, or Earl, and all of those names, at least in English, are nerdy. They're nerdy sounding. So I'm just gonna like put my stamp on this. It's a nerdy name. Now, Stig / Erlin, I'm going to call him Erlin, has, you know, a posse around him, much like Leonardo DiCaprio. There's Perf, who's his producer. There's Richie, who is his manager. And then there's his like hanger-on friend 6. They always have one. It's the turtle. It's like the friend, honey, who's been around ever since, and so just gets to ride the wave and pick up all the like leftover ladies that like, you know, pass through the sieve of Stig's sieve. That's 6's. He's so happy for his life. He's like, the only thing that can ruin this is if you fuck it up for me. I don't want you to be in a relationship where women think that you're not single, because then they're not going to throw themselves at you and then be desperate enough to maybe try and go home with me so they can get closer to you. Anyway, they are the, you know, kind of men that are like, oh, you like a Farina girl. And when he's like, yeah, you know, I want to settle down and maybe have a kid, they're like, oh, you want to breed her? That made my skin crawl. That was horrible. Do you want to breed her? Ooh, breed her. There's like whatever levels of misogyny in this world, and obviously a lot of levels, I guess, and by whatever, I mean obviously a lot. I don't even know what I would do if I had met someone, was dating someone, was on a reality show, and before I met them, I got to see a scene of them and their closest friends, where that closest friend had seen pictures of me, right? Like knew who I was like, oh, hey, you gonna fucking breed with her? You gonna breed her? I don't even know how I would look at that person in the face ever again, much less look at like the person I'm with and not be like, and you didn't slap that person, and be like, don't speak about the person I've been in a 6-month relationship with like she's cattle. She's a whole person. But he doesn't, right? Stig doesn't. He doesn't, for some reason, check his friend slash producer slash manager. And I don't understand why, because to me, Stig has all the fucking power. Why is Stig allowing any of these assholes, any of these fucking losers to like nag him or disrespect him or his woman that way? I found that interesting. I thought yeah, to me, if Stig was like, oh, I'm sorry, I pay your fucking bills, so you're not going to disrespect my relationship that way. It's not what he said, though. Now, maybe you're like, Chris, men are men and boys are boys. But I like, and you just don't be so whatever. Maybe you're like not saying this. You're like, Chris, why do you keep putting words in my mouth? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's the place I'm in. It's just that, I guess that, yeah, to me, and again, it's not so much that I think that he should be PC or pro-feminist, although obviously I do think that. It's that I think he is paying these men's bills, and I think that that was disrespectful to the choice he had made in a partner. It was like devaluing the woman that he chose. They basically called her cattle, like I said. So to me, it makes no sense for him not to be like, the fuck you talking about? You're going to stay here, you're not going to party with any girls. Go have fun, honey. Back on the mainland, because you're not partying with me anymore. No Spotify royalties for you, and no unveilings of any billboards of any cognacs with me anymore, buddy. Anyway, so they also are like, yeah, you're getting there, and you're gonna be excited about that citizenship. And Stig is like, well, I can't lie, yeah, it's a good thing, kind of. And we're all like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, we get it. So they're all like, you're gonna bring her to San Pedro, the Temptation Island. And we get this backstory that he's been a player, just like Faith said, playboy, when we all know male slut. And so these friends have their doubts that he would ever be faithful to one lady. They have fears and doubts. And he is trying hard to be like, yeah, this is it. But he isn't good at least assuaging my doubts, assuaging my doubts, whatever that word is. Back for her. Now, she made it on that second plane, honey, and the shrimp's still there, and we all hate the shrimp, and there's shrimp stains on her pants, which is better than shit stains, but it's shrimp stains, I guess. So he's like, back where he is, he's got her flowers. He's like, I can't wait to hang out with only one burner, which is one girl. That's enough for me. They've been talking for 2 years, been dating for 6 months, because they had met online, like I said, and then they were booed up, and then they were suddenly not booed up, and they've been 6 months, but like it's not exclusive. She freshens up, and they have their airport hello, and it's boring. It's not an airport meeting that is indicative of anything other than mediocre sex. I mean that. They seem awkward. Like, he does carry her bags for her, and I find that okay. But like, when you actually look at them, she's like, yeah, there's chemistry, and he keeps touching me, and he keeps kissing me, and he's like, yeah, she got a fucking fat ass. Didn't expect it. Love it. But also a sweet personality and beautiful eyes. And we're like, it's interesting when, I don't know, a sweet personality. I can't imagine. Okay, here's the thing. I want to be sweet, and I think that I am mostly sweet. But unless you're in the 1950s, do I believe that like any young man in 2025 is like, I just like her so much for her sweet personality. She's sweetie. Of course, people want people that are kind and stuff like that, but the way he describes her as having a fat ass, beautiful eyes, which we also know are like just polar opposite of the way, he looks, which could be thin. Listen, we get it. Light eyes are somewhat enviable in this world, and I'm speaking from someone that, radiates love from a pair of the brownest eyes possible. So maybe there's like some whatever, but it just all seems like a superficial kind of wannabe cosplay of a relationship without any like depth, without any depth at all, really. I don't want to be considered, I don't want the predominant, like, I don't want the predominant quality that someone falls in love with me as being sweet. Like, stay sweet and obey. Like, okay, I would love them to think that I'm kind or compassionate or empathetic. I also definitely want them to think that I'm like funny, right? I mean, whatever. This is me, intelligent, funny, witty, snappy. I want them to think that like that I care for people over me being sweet. Or I want them to think that I'm, obviously hot. Not real hot, obviously. I want them to think that I'm a weird mixture of being so unbelievably beautiful, but also sexy, but also just undeniably pretty, and also respectfully hot. But mostly I don't want them to think I'm sweet, because sweet to me feels like you want me to like, yeah, shut up and obey. Fat ass and sweet. Stig doesn't know women. When he said that, I was like, oh, you don't know women. I don't know what your idea of women are. Maybe just like, yeah, shaking ass at concerts, like hype girls for you. Like maybe they'll throw a t-shirt out on your behalf. But I wonder if you've ever been like truly vulnerable with a woman or anyone and felt the weight of fear, anticipation of like having that person open their heart to you and accepting you. But maybe if you like look at women as being like sexual objects that are all obsessed with you because you're a pop star, maybe you don't have to like be open or vulnerable. I mean, you're not going to be open and vulnerable with Perf, Richie, and Six, though I would love to see that scene. So she throws the shrimp away. She won't let him eat the shrimp. And then he takes her to the hotel, and then she has greasy hair. So he gives her more flowers, and she's like, I have a present for you. And she's already told him she has lingerie. And I'm like, please shower, please go shower. But also I want him to shower, but also at least, I don't know, but her, please go shower. It's been 2 flights. I've seen your hair. There's been shrimp along the way. Like, what comes out of that bathroom to me is just her in red lingerie with now that greasy, greasy hair just up, just in like a claw clip. Oh, and I was sad. I was sad. And I also wanted Spring's opinion, her aunt. Remember, can you believe that we actually had a whole episode of Aviva and Stig, and they didn't somehow bring Spring in? Like, they didn't have Aviva like call Spring on the way, to the second plane, or be like, Spring, I made it. Because I assume that once the producers saw Spring, they knew that we had to see her at every episode now. Because there was a reason why we know Spring's name and we don't know Aviva's mom's name. I'll never know that person's name. I'll remember Spring for the rest of my life. So will you. Spring. Anyway, Spring. Where was she? I know, she has people on the ground, obviously, watching Sprig. I'm surprised that weren't like people with walkie-talkies, like telling her about the airport reunion, how they're like, yeah, all he cared about was her fat ass. I don't know. They have a horrible conversation where he's like, I'll never leave you. And she's like, yeah, baby, don't leave me. But like, just quick question. If you were to leave me, like, what would be the one reason why you would? He's like, well, I would only have to leave you if you made it impossible for me to stay by not liking my job and my career. And she's like, well, I really want to be a supportive person for you, but I also want to feel respected. And then he said nothing. Because he doesn't know what that means. what a great time to like lay out the framework of what those words mean, right? I'd be like, oh, great. What is that? What was it? Great. So yeah, how can that look? What does that look like for each other? Just so that we can like get on the same page. Nope. Okay, Rick and Trish, honey, Rick and Trish. It's the morning after of their lust, his lust, and her predicament. She has a lot of fake designer looks. It's just interesting to me. There's like fake Hermes sandals on the ground. And she has like a fake Jacquemus bag. That's so interesting. So we find out, against our will, that they had sex twice. And the second time, he did all the stuff that she wasn't expecting. She's so surprised that he has such vigor for being a man of his age. Does she know there's pills? Despite the fact that he has suffered a tragedy by losing a son, and therefore I feel bad talking about him, not for me, in the way that every time he talks, it's disgusting. Every word that comes out of his mouth in relationship to her is disgusting. It's repulsive. He repulses me. Oh no, I feel bad. And it's not the way he's a good-looking person. It's entirely his demeanor. But then what happens is that his demeanor then also sours any part of his looks that could be conventionally attractive, where it's sort of like his personality like turns what would be on paper an attractive person into like a fun house mirror for me. The way he talks about her is so gross. It is to the highest degree. You're like, girl, run. Trish, I don't know, honey. Get those little shoes back on you and tap dance out of that fucking man's life, honey. You can't be there. But unfortunately, we're like day one. So after the sex, he's like, I could stay in that bed all day. But she was like, and let me show you the town. So they go to a market, and the market's called Analakili, which I liked. And she's showing him around. She's very lovely. She's very proud of her culture, and she should be. I think Madagascar looks gorgeous. It looks like a really beautiful part of the world, and I would love to go there. And why I bring that up is she's like so excited to show him her city, and then he just shits on it. Like, he does this thing that boomers do sometimes, where it's like they cannot help talking the thoughts in their brain, and they seemingly do not hear the words that they're saying from anyone else's vantage point but their own. So, she's showing him the market. There's meat. There's, this is a culture. This is a town. Sorry, this is a city, major city, and there's meat markets. It's like, everyone's coming here to get their food. And he's like, oh my God, you don't refrigerate anything? Doesn't the meat go bad? Now, I'm going to tell you this. In the Western world or whatever, obviously in America, we certainly refrigerate our meats. And we have seen on, meats not being refrigerated before. And I don't quite understand exactly what happens hygienically, what happens if people's gut bacteria, like in certain places, get accustomed and, other things are not. I don't know. But I do know that he's a grown-ass man. So when he sees the food displayed the way it is, he has to assume that's how it is. That's how it is here. Different from what he knows. But yeah, there's different places. he's like, oh, who would eat that? So it looks like leftover food that people wouldn't possibly eat. And she's like, oh, that's fucking rude. That's, yeah, we eat that food. What are you talking about? He's like, well, would you eat that? That brain? And she's like, yeah, fucking yes, I have. Do you hear the words coming out of your mouth? I don't get that. I just don't get it. I don't get how you can be rude about how someone lives in front of them when you know that that's how they live. That's how they live. It might not be how you choose, and you definitely might have like thoughts against it, but to like so openly be dismissive and negative about it to someone is so fucking rude. I can't, like, what? But she like somehow tolerates it because there's this thing that sometimes I think happens when you like have like a passive aggressive thing where you're like, is this real? Am I the weird one? Then they go up to this beautiful mountaintop, and there are people playing music, and he tries to dance, and it's quickly apparent that he cannot. And she starts dancing, and he realizes that she can move. And he's just, for dating someone who's been in Madagascar, he doesn't seem to have done any research about it either. He's like, oh, is that your typical familiar dance that you have done for me? Like, if he's some British colonizer, I know that he's a person of color. But the way that he interacts with her is like he's some British aristocrat almost, where he's like, look at the people, the way they dance. Is that your typical dance that you people do? And she's like, no, it's just, that's the way I just wanted to dance in that one moment. Yeah, it's very American, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's not, I guess I don't, okay. So if I was to say it, it's like there's this American, oh my God, you people live this way? I wouldn't live that way. How can you people live this way? Blows my mind. I would never be comfortable to live this way. Well, sir, A, you might operate from more privilege. Also, B, she knows her life. So she's living her life that she knows. She's happy. She's been happy. She certainly doesn't need you to come rain on her parade all of your doubts and worries and whatever peculiarities. It's just, I hated it. Don't you? I hated it so much. So then after I hate all of this, he's like, let me ruin everything more by bringing up this stupid you ghosted me for 5 days thing. So then he's like, why did you ghost me again? And she's like, I cannot fucking believe you're making me say all the details again. A, my ex-boyfriend was robbed. He thought it was me. He thought I was an accomplice. He's like, that sounds shady. She's like, also B, my brother using my scooter hit someone. Then we had to pay for that person's like whole healthcare and also the amends. He's like, well, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, because I don't fucking know you. So as I'm going through a lot of goddamn turmoil with my family, I don't have to like suddenly find time to spend 2 hours on the phone with some dude I've never fucking met. You're not real. What? So then he hears all that and he's like, good, good, good. I'm glad I got that cleared up, because the real crux is, while the 5 days happened, he, during the 5 days, somehow got back in touch with his ex in Colombia. And that person's like, come visit me. I don't know why I made it seem like she's a bitch. She's fine. He's an asshole. And then he gets back in touch with Trish. Trish tells him everything that she's already told him. He, in that moment, decides not to believe her. He's like, I just felt like she cheated on me. So what did I do? I wanted her to have cheated on me so I can do whatever the fuck I want to do, which is go to Colombia and act like I'm in a relationship with someone who I already broken up with for some reason and fuck the shit out of her and then leave her. Because I'm like, what travel fucking passport, bro? How do I not hate this man? Help me. Listen, we all live different lives, and I feel really bad about that kid, but oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to deal with him. I truly don't like him. I don't like him, and he freaks me out. I don't want him for her. Laura and BeerCon. Okay, 2 couples left, my love. Laura has never flown over the ocean before. She has never even left the continent. So she's nervous to go. She's wearing a blue shirt and packing. She's packing to go visit, obviously, Birkin, and leaving her friend Michael in the goddamn dust because Michael, honey, couldn't even in the moment be like, I like you. Now, people on the streets, and by the streets I mean Reddit, were like back and forth about Michael, like, oh, I feel so bad for him, and I do feel so bad for him. And other people were like, also, he didn't ask her out before. And the timeline of like why, either because of his own self-sabotage is one thing, or whether he didn't ask her out prior when she happened to weigh more pounds, was a little confusing for the internet streets to be like, oh, does he like her now in this different body? And is, what's happening and what does that look like? And that is a very interesting conversation that I hope the producers ask him. Just to clarify, like, buddy, like, have you been wanting to be with her the whole time and you've been self-sabotaging because you feel like you're not worthy because of a little birth defect or a birth defect? I don't mean to minimize it for him. I'm just saying a birth defect. And him being like, oh, no, I didn't self-sabotage the whole time. I only realized I was in love with her recently, or, oh, no, I wasn't attracted to her before. Like, I need to know exactly what it was, or I was in love with her the whole time. And it wasn't until that one scene where I started to say the thing and then still couldn't say it. Okay. Now, as I said, she's packing. What is she packing? Only the most sexy, lingerie, skimpy, slutty things possible to seduce her man. Like avocado pit PJs. Oh, look at those avocado print PJ bottoms. You can almost feel like they're kind of soft, but also washed out a lot. I mean, look at all them pits. I saw that and I was like, oh, babe. I'm not saying those PJ pants are bad. I'm just saying I don't think they have to make the trip. I don't think they got it. I think they can stay. So then Laura's parents come over. Their names are Eileen and Terry, and they are conservative Catholic. Oh, God, and boy, do they look it. And then I instantaneously wanted like way more backstory. Like, Laura, like, can you please talk about like what your life was like? Did you go to Catholic school? What's your confirmation name? Like, did you have to like pray to the saints? How many novenas did your mom come home with? Do you have a scapular? Like when you tell me you're a conservative Catholic, I need more details. I know that life. Her mom is the kind of person that says Muslim like this. Muslim. Like if it's spelled Muzzlum, like a muzzle. Muslim. And her dad says hardly anything at all, which is probably how that relationship has lasted the whole time. Because the mom's a talker and has a lot of opinions. And they're negative. Real negative. They do not trust, and therefore respect, really, their adult daughter. Now, not the first pair of parents to do so. I always think of like Rebecca and Zayed as like the prime example for some reason of someone who, and this is kind of obviously similar as BeerCon's from obviously an Arab country, Turkish or Muslim country, whatever you want to say. Someone who, when they discuss the choices that they have made, which is to follow their heart, everyone in their life is like, stupid fucking choice, you dumb. You're a stupid dumb for making that choice. And you are not to be at all trusted. Your behavior and your choices in the past certainly have led us to believe that you don't know shit. And so when you tell us the choices that you have made in your adult life, we certainly feel totally, totally valid and like giving you our opinions and how shitty we think your ideas are, how bad they are, and why we think that you, I mean, are fucking asinine, fucking crazy. It's just it's a hard POV to have against someone that you respect. Like, even if someone who your whole life you've been like, is a normal person, but I can see something they built, or I can see why they built something, or, they have a certain lifestyle, certain life that they've created that I recognize, even if they were making a wild choice, you would still back up your statements of being like, I know you to be a logical person. I know you to be a rational person. Like, why this, why that? And obviously that's not the vibe. The vibe is like, we've been putting up with your bullshit, your stupid bullshit this whole time, and we cannot believe you're doing it again. And it's hard because the mom is saying, Eileen's saying things like, he doesn't love you and you can't possibly love anyone. He's an unknown entity. And she says, don't sell yourself short. Why are you doing this? And Laura says that she thinks life is a series of calculated risks. And you have to take a risk on love. Because if you don't, for love, like, what is anything for? And I really respect that. There is this horrible, like, balance you have to do when you have to, like, take a leap of faith, right? And it happens in careers, like with money stuff and investments and like starting a business. And it happens with moves, like if you move to a brand new city or state or whatever, take a new job. And of course it happens with relationships, like the burgeoning of a new love or whatever. There's a certain leap of faith and therefore a certain like necessary bravery it takes to do so. And in only that like period of discomfort can there be like wild growth and wild possibility, right? But at the same time, being able to like draw the line between taking a brave, wild leap of faith and then making a crazy mistake with a bunch of red flags that everyone else sees that you don't is like, I mean, listen, you could imagine that I'm not someone into cryptocurrency. I don't know if you can imagine that, but now I've said it, so you don't even have to imagine. Guess what? Not a person that I just don't, it's fine. I don't know it well. I've never invested in it. And, my own personal business matters because I had told you I'm in a codependent relationship with my father. As usually I go to my dad for business advice, and my dad handles money and has been a financial advisor all of his life. And he definitely is, of the older generation. So my dad very early on was like, fuck crypto. Okay. And I believed him. Now, did people make money on crypto? Certainly they did. Did people lose money on crypto? Certainly they did. They don't even talk about crypto, but I know there are crypto billionaires. I don't even know where they are. Truly. It's like, it could be either one. There are people who made a huge leap of faith in crypto and made a lot of money. And there's people who made a huge leap of faith in crypto and probably lost it all. Or it's all locked in some fucking weird digital wallet and they can't remember the key. I mean, I don't even know. Or someone mined it. I mean, whoa. Okay. So all that to say, I really felt for this like bittersweet, I don't know how to say this, double-edged sword. A bittersweet symphony, a catch-22. You don't know what it's gonna be. It could be great. It could be horrible. We get cut to Beer Con. Now, Beer Con loves Nietzsche and loves philosophy. We get an idea of him that at first is almost kind of like Miss Debbie, where like, remember Miss Debbie? I think his name is Muhammad. Oh God, it's really bad. I think his name is Muhammad. Where at first he was like an artsy person and we were supposed to believe that he was like artsy and that was like his major personality trait. Beer Khan's major personality trait is like stoic, philosopher, depressive kind of existential crisis. A man in the middle of an existential crisis is what his like vibe is. He's like, life is one part pain and one part thriving. He's like, I want to be the light for people while I deal with the darkness of my soul. He was supposed to be a professional soccer player, and then he tore his ACL, and still loves to play. We meet up with his two friends, and but before that, he says that when he met Laura on Snapchat, she made him feel like dreaming was okay again. And when he said that, it was a beautiful sentiment. And it's a better sentiment to me, or more romantic than any like Danielle saying that he loves her right away, that she's like from a face of God. Or Stig being like, love that ass. People, for him to say that she made him feel like dreaming was okay, it makes me feel like he was open and or vulnerable with her enough to feel an actual feeling. I don't know if it's going to last, and I don't know if he has the emotional maturity to like sit with and sustain a relationship. Those are the things we'll find out. But his friends are his friends, and they're close. He's not close to his fam. His friends are Memo and Tuba, and they are playing some tile game. I don't know what kind of tile game it is. At first, I'm like, is this Scrabble? Everyone's playing Mahjong now, right? Like everyone. Were you on? I remember when I was doing the episode with Mary Payne. I can't remember if she said it from Pink Shade on the podcast or before and after, that everyone was playing Mahjong in her life. And then when she said that to me 2 weeks ago, it's like fucking Mahjong is everywhere. Everywhere. People are playing Mahjong. Anyway, the tiles made me think of that. At first, as I was like, is that backgammon? No, it's some tile game. And the friends talk to him about Laura, and they see a picture of Laura, and they're like, how old's Laura? And he's like, 20 years older than me. And obviously she had to tell her parents that, and her parents hated that. And he's like, I like older women. I like them. First of all, she looks young, even though she's old. We're like, you didn't have to say that part. And then he's like, yeah, they understand. Now that part gave me pause. I'm sorry, sir. What do we understand? What do you think that us older women understand exactly? Because truly we have knowledge, but we're not going to allow bullshit by some like easy sentiment of understanding or being, it's like, it was a very, it was a very suspicious answer. So he then says that after his failed soccer career, that he started a bunch of businesses and they didn't do well. And he's in some sort of financial trouble. And that he therefore has a secret to tell her. Now, I don't know what the secret is, but I hope it's not him asking for money. And if it is, I won't allow her to give it. But definitely her parents won't. Yeah, you just can't ask your lover for money. You just can't. You got to ask someone else. I don't have to tell you. I know what to tell you. Beer Khan, if you need money, you're going to have to go get back in with your family. And I mean that. Because you're from a culture where like, it's a lot of family shit. So if you need something, don't be asking this older white lady you haven't met before. Go back and ask daddy. Straight up. I do want to give him grace because I felt like he had more interesting answers than just like stereotypical, like, I liked her, she had blue eyes. Fuck you. But at the same time, there obviously is some suspicious behavior. So suspicious answers. So the other thing is that he also said that Laura, compares him to Michael, which I thought was interesting. Obviously, we know that he hates Michael. It's like, she shouldn't have friends that are male. Like, stop this. And they always hang out. But I want to be like, what is she comparing him to? Michael will hang out with me. Michael doesn't ask me for money. Michael, I mean, yeah, was comparing the word that he needed. Michael will listen to me more. Michael listens to me. I don't know. Okay. I certainly saved the best for last. Forrest and Sheena. You know, we have themes that reoccur on the show, like s'mores. One theme of this season, besides wigs, is shrimp on a plane. Now, I don't eat fish, and I know I'm vocal about it. I don't eat fish at all. And you could be like, do you mean lobster? And I'd be like, bitch, that's in the ocean. That's fish. You could be like, Chris, no, that's not fish. That's some other kind of thing. And I'd be like, okay, no, I don't eat it. If it's in the water, if it's in ocean water, I don't eat it. That's gross. It smells gross, and I don't know how you eat it. No. And also, like, don't we all think that, like, mercury and all that stuff exists? And, like, didn't we, like, pollute everything now? Like, don't we, like, no? Like, don't we all agree that, like, you shouldn't be eating fish? Okay, no, we don't. I guess I do. But can't we all agree at least that shrimp or fish or anything that is from the water shouldn't be on planes? A, because of the smell, but also B, because of the freshness. Forrest is a lovely person. He is eating this fucking shrimp on this plane, and he's like, this shrimp is great. This is the best fish I've ever had. This food on this plane is so yummy. I can't wait for Sheena to eat more of this food on the plane with me. And I died on the inside. Well, no. I mean, I don't know I don't know what's gonna make me like heave more, like Rick talking about Trish, or shrimp on planes. Smelly shrimp on planes. Loving shrimp on planes. So that's him. Molly's somewhere in the back. I don't know. Joining the Mile High Club with Dev, which I wonder what Dev does on a plane. I like, Forrest is filming himself. Dev, I'm assuming, sleeps 20 hours a day. We get the little cut to Sheena. Sheena is waiting for a ride to the airport with, honey, a big-ass piece of fruit. Big-ass piece of fruit. And it's jackfruit. I did not know I didn't know that jackfruit's that big. I mean, this jackfruit was the size of, like, the biggest watermelon I've ever seen. I don't even know. Or, like, the biggest pumpkin. I can't believe jackfruit is that big. I don't know what jackfruit tastes like. I've had jackfruit before, but the way I had jackfruit was, like, in a vegan taco format. Vegans love jackfruit. I don't know if it's, like, easily moldable or one of those things. I mean, obviously, I guess it is, because I ate it, and it tasted, yeah, like they seasoned it, and it just was, like, wet, kind of, yeah, like wet fruit. Spicy wet fruit. But, like, yeah, I don't know what it tastes like by itself. I love fruit, though. Okay, so she gets a ride, and then she's like, yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I'll take the bags. Help me with that jackfruit. And then Forrest gets off the plane, and he's wearing a lemon shirt. Makes me happy. And again, we saw those avocado pajama pants, so it's like there's a lot of food on clothing happening. And that wasn't even the actual shrimp on Aviva's pants. It's like, what are these themes? Okay. And right outside of the plane as they debark? That's a word, right? Debark. I'm sorry. You deplane? Do you debark a plane? Oh no. Do you debark? Do you do that, by the way? Do you ever just say words and then and as you say them out loud, you're like, is that a real word? Debark. I'm looking it up right now in real time because I mean, verb, leave a ship or aircraft. Great. Okay, so you guys, when you sometimes listen to my podcast, are you like, wow, what a literary genius? What a walking dictionary this woman is. I get smarter by listening to her. I'm playing with you. You absolutely did not. You're just like, oh my God, stop talking about beauty projects. Stop saying the word like. And I'm like, I know I can't. Sorry about it. Okay. So here we are. Molly is a little messy. She's frazzled. She's a frazzled, chaotic person who seemingly doesn't have her shit together, not ever, because we certainly saw her in the airport getting there and everything was like, I can't find this and I can't find that and what's that and I'm bubbling around and I don't know where to get there. And I mean, that kind of like energy, you're like, how have you lived? How are you alive? You know, a little bit still. So she gets off the plane and she's like, well, where's my passport? Oh no, I can't find my passport. Dev is like, oh, Forrest just wants to run to Sheena's arms. He's done all this to get away from Molly. And in the last possible moment before he can like actually touch Sheena, Molly's like, not yet. I got to find my paperwork. Molly went, I don't know, she thought she left it in the little like magazine part where the Sky Mall was in the seat in front of her pocket. I don't know. But this whole time, the plane has landed and Sheena listen, Sheena, if one thing, Sheena wants to be in constant contact. It does maybe feel like they have some insecure attachment situations in some codependency situations. Certainly does feel that way. So she has texted him, you landed, and he has not texted back, and that has made her nervous. Also, she doesn't say this, but she also is like, doesn't probably want to fucking see Molly, who's just yelled at her and stuff like that. And there's a whole part of this whole situation where I'm like, I just fucking wish that Molly and Dev were like, okay, you know what? When we get to the airport, when we get off the plane, we're going to let you hang out with Sheena the whole fucking day. We're not going to even say hi to her. We're just going to like let you guys have your romantic moment and then we'll meet up later. But like, no. So, okay, whatever. But they do have a romantic moment. Like they do come together. She sees him. He comes through the doors. She starts crying. I mean, instantly, you know, and he holds her and she says, oh, honey bear. And he starts crying and they kiss. I mean, his face when he sees her, like Forrest's face. And he definitely got a go, Forrest, go, run, Forrest, run from his mom. When he sees Sheena, it's so full of an open-hearted love of someone who is looking at his, beloved with such tenderness and such like open-heartedness that it's so beautiful. I loved this. I loved this airport reunion. 7 years in the making. It's full of tenderness. It's full of so much tenderness that Molly breaks down, that Dev loses his shit. Dev doesn't lose any shit. Molly loses her passport, loses everything all the goddamn time. Dev is a stoic man, never can do anything, never can like, barely make a noise, that Dev. Dev is like, I mean, love is love, honey. You can't deny it. Dev's like, I never fucking cry. I'm telling you, I don't cry. You'll never see moisture leave an orifice from my face. I barely have any moisture left in my entire body. Look at me. That's not, yeah. But Sheena got to him. I really love them. Oh, my goodness gracious. That was the episode. I mean, I'm going to stop saying I love this episode. It was such a good episode. I'm so into this season. I'm very highly into it. I am committed. I care. I don't want any more Emma. At some point, we're getting Elise, which I can't even really wrap my mind around. I mean, there's so many couples. Okay. And we still have another couple to meet. That's not Elise. I think Elise must be coming like mid-season or something. Um, okay, my loves, that was the end of the episode. Can you believe it? I just can't wait for more. Obviously, we have Toe coming up. And I will be doing also Sister Wives live from Paris. The way I'm structuring this right now is that my RSS feed is getting, for Vanity Fair, is getting the before the 90 days. And I'm keeping YouTube lives for Toe and Sister Wives right now. And then at some point, I'll marry everything, just like Sheena and Forrest getting married. But until then, the RSS feed is where you'll find before the 90 days, this season of 90 Day Fiance. And this visual of this episode will be at my Patreon only because I have no makeup on and I just don't feel like scaring people for free. But you can pay to be scared. I'm just kidding. And then, yes, I will have, like I said, Toe and Sister Wives on my YouTube. I would love you to give Vanity Fair 5 stars. Please give a helpful review and share this podcast with others. Go to my Instagram and share it to your feed. Or if you're listening right now, like screenshot it and tell me you like it. I would love to know your favorite parts. It means a lot that you're listening. I heavily appreciate it. If you want more of me, guess what? There's more of me. I'll tell you all the ways. And my God, I keep monetizing myself. Or whatever, I keep putting myself out there is what I should really say, because that's what you have to do. Sometimes you have to make calculated risks in this world for love. You have to make leaps of faith or nothing will happen. So I have a Patreon, like I said, it's Chris Farah. I have a Substack, it's Chris Farah. I am at Chris L. Farah on Instagram and on TikTok, and I'm having a lot of fun making content there. 90-day content, a lot on TikTok. And live content on TikTok, live content on Instagram. Right now, I am in Paris for Christmas week, so a lot of fun traveling stories. Last week, I was in London for the opening of the West End production of Oh Mary, and that was super, super, super great, funny, but also amazing to watch the journey of that production. So it's like incredibly inspiring. And if you haven't seen Oh Mary yet, it's so fun, stupidly funny, stupidly smartly funny is what I should say, because it's camp done really well. And I think for camp to be done really well, you have to be brilliant performers living in a heightened version of absolute truth, of absolute painstaking, high stakes truth for it to be that funny. And it is. So go see Oh Mary on Broadway. Go see Oh Mary in the West End. Follow me at Chris L. Farah on Instagram, on TikTok. And finally, I'm on Facebook. You can join my private group, Vanity Farah, or you can like my page, Chris Farah, on Facebook. Those are like all the options. I feel like they're great. Patreon, Substack, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Give me a review here on Vanity Fair. Other than that, I certainly wish you all happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Please find pockets of joy for yourself where you feel loved and warm. And do that enough so that you have ample joy to share with others. Okay? If you could take care of yourselves, like they tell you in a plane, you gotta put your oxygen mask on. Make sure that you feel as much love and as much kindness and as much like care by giving yourself that you can. And then once you feel like you've ascertained enough, don't be miserly, share it, share a smile, share eye contact, share like a consensual touch, or share a vulnerable part of yourself with someone, not in an oversharing trauma response way, but in a way that you choose that will make someone else feel not alone, if you can find that kind of moment. When I do lives on YouTube at the end, I do a breath for us all to take together because I have a sort of joy in that, in one present moment, whoever is listening and whoever's in the room, that we all breathe together and we all know that we're all doing it because we're in fact sharing space. I love that. So, but like I end YouTube lives and like I'll end Vanity Fair's, take care of yourselves and one another, stand up for what you believe, and make art. Okay? Thank you again. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later, my little pheromones. All right. Bye.